This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Today's podcast is brought to you by Leverage, a new fully featured decentralized futures exchange without compromise. Are you ready to trade the future of crypto today? Well, Leverage is a DEX, so you can trade with your keys and sign orders just with one click, and Leverage is fast. Yes, indeed, Leverage is powered by Gluon, a new layer 2 solution with the scalability and speed of a centralized exchange and the super low fees of a DEX. Yes, Leverage, the new exchange that combines the best features of CeFi and DeFi, so you can trade crypto spot or crypto derivatives with up to 100x leverage while maintaining control of your assets at all times. It's like William Gibson said, the future is already here, but in this case, it's evenly distributed and completely decentralized. Go to leverage.io, and leverage is spelled Leverj.io, and trade the future of crypto today.
Yeah, boy!
I have two guests on the show. Firstly, it is a welcome back to the show to Mona Elisa. Mona is the founder of Enzyme Finance, an Ethereum-based protocol for decentralized on-chain asset management. And Enzyme empowers anyone to set up, manage, and invest in customized on-chain investment vehicles. Also on the show today is my main man, Mr. Josh Olszewicz, who of course is the lead analyst at Brave New Coin and a trader at Techemy Capital. And Josh is on the show because Techemy Capital has just launched it's called the Holistic ETH-BTC Portfolio. This is an actively managed product that it provides exposure to Bitcoin and Ethereum price action, and the portfolio is powered by Enzyme. So that was a bit of a mouthful, but hey, welcome to the show, Mona and Josh.
Thanks so much for having us, Andy. It's great to be here.
It's great to talk about my favorite thing in the world, which is trading at an exciting time when everybody's trading, everybody's doing all sorts of trading on all sorts of apps. So I think stuff like this is very, very attractive just to anybody right now, because it's the pandemic, everybody's locked down. It's kind of all they're doing is focusing on stuff like this.
That is very much correct, and we have certainly seen that with the Robinhood saga of 1 or 2 weeks ago. And I guess just before we dive into Enzyme, I think it'd be nice just to break the ice with you both and maybe just get some quick thoughts from both of you on the recent developments with Mr. Elon Musk and the big position in Bitcoin that Tesla has taken to the tune of 1.5 billion. Pretty cool to see, Mona.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, we've definitely been talking about that a lot internally over the last 24 hours. I think it's very exciting times. I'm excited to, see people really paying for products of that nature in Bitcoin. It's and Elon's he's a leader in this kind of thing. So it's great to see. It's great to see such a ballsy move, frankly, by one of the leading, traditional S&P tech leaders.
Absolutely, very much so. And Josh, were you taken by surprise at just how a ballsy a move this was and how quick it happened?
I mean, he hinted at it for a while. He's always been like on the fringes of stuff as far as like doing crazy things. Saylor was obviously a big influencing factor. Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy, whose own treasury is just like kind of YOLOing it, but it's working out at the moment as far as being in BTC, which what feels like 100%. I don't think him being in is a surprise as much as like the amount, 7.7% of their treasury, it's just insane to me. The other big part of that announcement was them accepting crypto for buying and selling of vehicles and solar panels and whatever else. And that isn't to say that a bunch of people are going to rush out and should spend their crypto to buy a Tesla. But the big thing that a lot of legacy people look at is, are there retailers buying and selling, like using it as a transaction medium. Most Bitcoin people will tell you they use it as a store of value. They don't want to use it as a way to transact. Why would you sell an appreciating asset for a depreciating one, right? But that's not really the point. The point is that it's just, it starts the conversation in both ways, in the treasury aspect and in the retail side, buying and selling, transacting. So if somebody like Apple is next, which that's been a rumor lately, that Apple's going to buy 5 billion, they're going to have some sort of store, Apple Market something, I don't know. So if that comes online as well, along with this Tesla stuff, I mean, it's going to open the floodgates even further.
Yes, indeed. And look, the other rumor I have seen, Apple is the one rumor. I wouldn't know how much stock to place in that rumor at the moment. But the other one is Larry Ellison and Oracle. And of course, don't know if you guys are aware, but I believe Elon Musk flew out to, I think, Hawaii, which might be where Larry is based or where one of his yachts is. But they had a private meeting a month ago. So who knows what was discussed. I guess at the end of the day, all this is extremely bullish, and it certainly will make your life as a trader a little bit more interesting, Josh. We'll talk about that again very soon. Let's go back to you, Mona. So I guess, where do you want to begin here? So do you want to explain a little bit about the background for Enzyme, and maybe as I understand it, there's been a recent rebrand, and just sort of talk through that and anything you want to add in terms of your own background. I should also say that Mona has been on the show before. So we did a show last year back when Enzyme was known as Melon, and there's a lot of good background there. So I'll put a link to that episode in the show notes. But over to you, Mona.
Thanks. Yeah. So where to begin? So we've kind of been building asset management infrastructure on chain for the last 4.5 years, and we really kind of, just to take a little bit of a step back, we basically took the view, like back then, that all assets will end up having some kind of tokenized form or end up being tokenized. And also the crypto native market, which we've just been talking about, Bitcoin, Ether, etc. They're interesting as an asset class themselves. So the idea that we can create all of these financial assets on chain was a very early one for us. And when we realized that this new kind of asset class was just going to explode, we basically thought, well, if you buy into this assumption, then basically the way we can do kind of asset management, from the whole operational, administrative, auditing, all of that kind of stuff, we don't have to do it in traditional old-fashioned pen and paper, super expensive and super tiring and super non-transparent ways. We can actually automate that entire part of the value chain through the use of smart contracts, while still giving certain guarantees to the investors who are backing these kind of investment vehicles, so that they can participate in, as much as possible, a trustless way, without having to trust the portfolio manager too much, because you have like all these rules embedded in the smart contracts about what the portfolio manager can and can't do. So that really was the basis of our idea, to basically replicate the asset management industry on the blockchain in a completely automated way, but always thinking, as much as possible, how can we create trust, or how can we help establish trust between investors in investment products and creators of investment products. And that's really like the ethos, or the philosophy that we put into the architecture and the design of our smart contracts. So in short, Enzyme now enables people to set up some kind of investment vehicle, crypto investment vehicle, in a matter of minutes. It's extendable, it's customizable. You can select what kind of fees, what kind of strategy. Do you want it to be passive or active, for example, robo-advisory, a DAO? You can basically shape it as you like and eventually deploy it to the blockchain. And then basically people can find your products, they can review information about your product in a completely transparent way. They can view data extremely transparently, performance data and metrics on your products, which is audited essentially by the blockchain and provable on chain. And all of this is done, in an automated, low cost, easily accessible way versus what you would have to go through to build any kind of track record and recognition in traditional finance.
That's right, Mona. And look, speaking of traditional finance, that is your background. And for anyone that's not aware, Mona, you have quite a long and very successful career in traditional finance. You're a trader at Goldman Sachs for quite a long time. And I guess it's really your experience and frustration really with, some of the, I guess, the legacy ways of doing things. There's just a lot of rules, regulations, bureaucracy, and in the blockchain space, suddenly you've got a much more efficient and low cost way of doing things, right?
Yeah, so I'll tell you a funny story, Andy. It's true that I spent nearly a decade at Goldman. I was a market maker and prop trader there for nearly 10 years. And I would say it wasn't my Goldman experience that actually frustrated me with the industry, because Goldman is a huge company, and they literally had floors of operational staff to make the life of a trader easy. Booking the trades, reconciling the trades, making sure the P&L is updated in 10 seconds or max. Dealing with any issues, if P&L wasn't matching versus what the fund administrator reported, they would, take care of it. And so I actually never felt any of the pain points, ironically, when I worked at Goldman. I only started to feel the pain points and actually to learn how the engine of finance worked after I left Goldman. And after leaving Goldman, I went to work for one of our clients. It was a long-short equity fund where I ran a portfolio there for a couple of years. I think it was 4 years actually. And then I tried to launch my own long-short equity fund. And both of those experiences were, in comparison, quite eye-opening in terms of, how do smaller organizations, and I'm not talking small, just smaller organizations, like manage these processes. And I can tell you, that was really an eye-opening experience for me. And especially the last experience I had, where I myself single-handedly was the operations person in my fund, because we had $30 million under management, and the operational staff required to support me, the budget was just not there. That really opened my eyes to how the engine of a fund really works, or how the engine of asset management really works. And wow, it's so inefficient, and it was so painful and so exhausting. And I think ultimately that experience is also what gave me the knowledge and the understanding of what could be done when I eventually discovered crypto and blockchain technology.
And so, Mona, last time we spoke, the product was called Melon, but you have since rebranded to Enzyme, and I guess this is kind of version 2, and you've got a lot more features, and the interface is much slicker. It's kind of just an improvement all round. Do you want to briefly just talk to that?
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, that's true. The last time I was on this show, we were known as the Melon Protocol. Ironically, it was spelled Melon, MELON. And, the idea when we first came up with that name was Melon is the Greek word for future. And we felt that we were really the future of asset management. Unfortunately, this name didn't bode too well with BNY Melon. And so we had a few tiring legal battles with their legal counsel, and it just all got a little bit too tiring and boring and exhausting. And we just thought, you can have the name and we'll take asset management. But yeah, no, we have recently rebranded to Enzyme. We feel like Enzyme is an appropriate name just because it feels like what we're really doing is catalyzing, empowering managers, portfolio managers, catalyzing the future of asset management. And we think it also probably suits the theme of what we're doing a lot more too. We're enabling people to move much faster, to perform better, and to do more with less.
And also just on the rebrand, Mona, so I understand that you still have the existing Melon token, which is, a key part of the protocol, but the same ticker is still related to that token. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we've rebranded the protocol to Enzyme, but the ticker remains MLN and the token contract remains the same as before. So it's a great point that you clarified, because, with all the scams around at the moment, you can never be too careful. But yeah, the ticker is still MLN.
That's exactly right. And do you want to just briefly talk to the token and, what the purpose of the token is?
Yeah, sure. The token is a utility token. It's used to essentially power the network. So portfolio managers will be charged a fee for, running products on Enzyme. And we're actually in the middle of a transition, shifting that fee from a one-off fee to an AUM-based fee. And those fees are collected. And then essentially some of them are paid. It's possible that not all of them are paid in MLN. So they're transferred to MLN and then they're basically essentially burnt. So what that does is essentially directly link the usage on the network, the AUM-based usage on the network, to the value of the token, which creates a nice alignment of interest between token holders, users, and developers that are building on the protocol and therefore earning in MLN.
Very good. I'd love to get some thoughts from you, Mona, on who the target market is here then. So obviously Josh is here, in his capacity as trader for Techemy Capital. So Techemy Capital is it's a boutique investment management company focused on digital assets and crypto and blockchain. So that's one good example. But I'd love to hear about who else you're targeting here, because I remember I think you told me before that something like 9 out of 10 fund managers that do try and set up their own fund end up failing, not necessarily because of trades that go wrong or they get blown up, but just because of the old ways of doing things were it's a hard to achieve, and the compliance and the regulations, etc. So who's the target market for Enzyme?
Yeah, so I think that's a good place to start. I think small to medium size emerging managers who are unproven still and can't attract those huge amount of capitals day one to sustain that kind of cost base, operational base that you need. Enzyme is a really great place to start because the cost of operating and setting up is relatively low in comparison to what it would be in the traditional world. But another really big advantage that I see, which is extremely kind of topical today, is gas prices on Ethereum are becoming extortionately high at the moment, and all the kind of opportunities, there are so many opportunities which are yielding a lot of return on Ethereum in DeFi, and it just doesn't make sense for one person who is investing, say, $1,000 or $5,000 into a DeFi product to wear all of those transaction fees at the current gas prices on their own. So pooling funds together in a way that you can kind of share all of those transaction costs is much more beneficial to the little guy, the savers out there who want to participate in all the cool stuff that's happening in DeFi, but want to share in the transaction costs. So I think there's a couple of interesting angles here. It helps the small saver and it helps the small emerging manager.
Okay, sounds good. Well, let's go to a very quick break and then we will come back and we'll talk more with Josh from Techemy Capital about the ETH-BTC Holistic Portfolio, and we'll also talk about the new DeFi index that's an actively managed DeFi portfolio that Techemy Capital is also launching on Enzyme very soon. So yes, back in 1 second.
Are you ready to trade the future of crypto today? Introducing Leverage, a full-featured decentralized futures exchange without compromise. Leverage is a DEX. Trade with your keys and sign with one click. Leverage is fast. It's powered by Gluon, a layer 2 solution with the scalability and speed of a centralized exchange and the low fees of a DEX. Say goodbye to exchange hacks, front-running, Ethereum network congestion, and high gas fees. Leverage, the new exchange that combines the best features of CeFi and DeFi so you can trade crypto spot and derivatives with up to 100x leverage while maintaining control of your assets at all times. Like William Gibson said, the future is already here, but in this case, it's evenly distributed and completely decentralized. Go to www.leverj.io and trade the future of crypto today. For crypto indices and benchmarking, Brave New Coin's powerful indexing engine can calculate high-frequency intraday and end-of-day indices for a wide range of index products. Brave New Coin's custom indices team delivers experienced consultancy, premium data, and trusted calculation. Contact BNC today to find out more.
Okay, well let's use Techemy Capital then as I guess the example here, because Techemy Capital has just launched the Holistic ETH-BTC Portfolio, and this is the portfolio that Josh trades. So as I understand it, Josh, this is it's an actively traded portfolio. Pretty simple exposure to both Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it is a long and short trading strategy. So do you want to talk a little bit about the idea here, Josh, and what the goal is?
Yeah, sure. So I've been around since 2013, and early on, a lot of it was just trying to keep your head above water because I knew nothing about anything trading related. Coming into this, my background isn't finance or anything like that. So I've learned a lot over the years as far as how things work, and the big thing, like Mona mentioned, was transparency and just being able to see the trades of people and to see the funds and what they're doing. That's been huge. It's effectively like on-chain copy trading. So the fund for me is what is it? It's long, basically long only, long, unless we use synthetics, if you want to get into the nitty gritty of it, but they have inverse assets, I believe, on the synths. But so it's effectively could be a long short fund, at least my end of it, specifically BTC, ETH, and USD, and a mixture of that. So I think it's great from my perspective because I can just be super transparent with what I've done and the P&L, all that stuff. It's all non-custodial, which is a big thing. If we look at previous experiences with other exchanges and the issues there, the market, the industry has sort of grown out beyond that. Anybody can connect to this with hardware, software wallet. It's kind of, I'm not going to say too good to be true, but it's very, very interesting and cool and fresh and new, especially watching where things have been since 2013. We've lost billions of dollars on centralized exchanges, and now we're talking about non-custodial portfolio management. I mean, it's crazy. Like Mona mentioned with the ETH fees, they're just outrageous right now. And especially for the smaller people who, for me, the target audience is people who maybe aren't good at trading or just want to see someone else's perspective on their trading, how they trade, what they're doing and why and when and all that sort of thing. I think Enzyme is great for that.
Yeah, that is such a good point, Josh. So obviously, Mona, as well as Enzyme and platforms like it, you really are disrupting the ability for fund managers to come along and set up a new on-chain asset management vehicle, but at the same time, you really are, I hate to use the word democratizing finance. That sounds like a cliche, but it is so true because with Enzyme, as Josh said, there are so many people out there who do want exposure to, crypto price action, particularly in a bull market like we're in right now, but they might not have the trading experience to kind of trust themselves. And if they, one option is just a simple buy and hold strategy, but a lot of people, once they get involved in the markets, they do want to trade. But sometimes the smart thing to do is just to look at options or new products like this, because they can kind of effectively piggyback on the trading decisions of a professional trader, someone like Josh, and get exposure that way, right?
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, one of the things that I see a lot, and I'm sure all of us see it a lot, is almost weekly now I get, messages from friends and family who have never been interested in crypto saying, how do I get involved? Where do I sign up? What do I do? How do I buy Bitcoin? How do I store it? What does yield farming mean? And and by the way, especially today and yesterday with this Tesla announcement. But I think that it kind of scares me when I get messages like that from family and friends who just want to get involved, but I don't have time to sit and explain to them, how to keep your crypto safe, the risks of holding it in a centralized exchange, versus something decentralized. By the way, crypto is extremely volatile, and you need to be able to stomach that, et cetera, et cetera. And it's so much easier. And, and that's just trading, plain vanilla crypto. But imagine when you start to touch, Josh mentioned that they were going to be also involved in synthetics. And I think that, there's probably other yield bearing products Techemy might branch into in future. And these are, these are all really exciting products, but they're products that like a first time newcomer who doesn't have the time, energy, who works full time, probably doesn't have the time to learn how to use these products safely and securely. And so 100%, finding a strategy that you can back, and entrust somebody who's much more experienced and much more, focused on this than you can afford to, is definitely a huge plus for savers. And it's definitely one of the reasons we one of the target users we have for Enzyme. We want savers to be able to allocate to people who can do the portfolio management decisions better than they can, because they have more time, more experience, and expertise.
Exactly right. And look, one of the big growth sectors across crypto across the last, say, 12 to 24 months has certainly been DeFi. And look, we talked about, I think you used the term vanilla crypto or something like that. By that, I guess we mean Bitcoin and Ethereum. But, DeFi is, if people think that the learning curve in terms of getting involved with Bitcoin is steep, DeFi is just on an order of magnitude more intimidating for the newcomer. And yet that is where the gains have been in the last year. So you talked about, I'm looking at the Techemy Capital website at the moment, guys. And so it says that there's a managed DeFi portfolio, and this is launching as a product on Enzyme very soon, I believe. And so this is an actively traded portfolio that provides exposure to, well, the entire Ethereum DeFi ecosystem. But so, because the decision making in terms of actively managing a DeFi portfolio, you need to be so down the DeFi rabbit hole. And that is what, the Techemy Capital guys here, they're down that rabbit hole. And to be able to just, come along in a non-custodial way and get exposure to that, it really is a little bit of a game changer, I reckon.
Yeah, so I've been full-time crypto since 2017, and it's taken me months over the past year to just begin to understand what's going on with DeFi. And we have somebody like Don who that's all he does is DeFi, and he did this this like starter experimental fund over the past year in 2020. Saw a great return, partly because he's just so informed and so just in it all the time. Whenever I have a DeFi question, I just go straight to him because he knows what's up.
That's right, Josh. And we should just give a shout out to Don. So if listeners want to know who we're talking about here, Don is the DeFi lead at Techemy Capital, and he heads a team of DeFi specialists, really. There's also guys like Fran and Paul, and all those guys live, sleep, breathe, and eat DeFi 24/7, which is really what you need to do to be able to keep up with the space, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're in the space full time since 4.5 years, and we struggle to keep on top of everything. So I would totally agree with that. It's nice to see a product launching on Enzyme that's backed by a team of people who are fully dedicated to this.
And so we should just say for any listeners, if you're interested in knowing more about these products, there are different ways you can get involved. You can look at the Techemy Capital website. Link will be in the show notes, but I believe that's just techemy.capital. And then, or you can just go to Enzyme itself, which is enzyme.finance. What sort of what do you see happening in the months ahead, Mona? What sort of traction are you getting in terms of people coming along, I guess, both on the fund side and just on the investor side?
I think we've just released V2, and this was like a huge upgrade on our side, both from an architectural and smart contract design point of view, but also from an interface point of view. And honestly, it feels like some new life has been injected into our community, into our ecosystem, into our user base, social media. We're really, we're really starting to see like a new energy and new type of users, so many new faces just enter our community all of a sudden. I think that's partly, because of the whole revamp and refresh and all the integrations we've announced recently and the ease of usability. I think it's probably not an exaggeration to say that our new user interface is probably 10 times easier to use than the previous version. But I also think that, DeFi is hot right now and probably will be for some time. There are so many exciting new opportunities. It's just because they're not easy to get into that the opportunities are so high. If they were too easy to get into, the yields probably wouldn't be so high. And I think that's also the exciting part of it too. Like the fact that you can discover cutting edge products on the platform, because people who are using it by definition are in it, in the thick of it, fully dedicating their time and resources to researching all these opportunities and even using some of these DeFi technologies to launch products, with other DeFi products. So I think it's all really exciting times. We're definitely excited by the recent growth in our community.
Fantastic. And so, Josh, I believe the Holistic ETH-BTC Portfolio that launched on Enzyme, I think around January 23. So 2 or 3 weeks ago. So early days, but maybe just talk a little bit more just to finish off on this. What are you expecting? I guess in terms of price action, what are you looking for? Anything you want to say about how the portfolio works? I guess you do weekly rebalancing and everything is very transparent, which is awesome to see. But yeah.
So with the fees, the fees on Ethereum are crazy out of sight, but the fees on Enzyme are basically just the cost of a transaction. So over the past week, they've been for me like between $80 and $100 on the Enzyme app itself, which is not bad comparatively. So I'm able to do a lot more in like intra week even, as far as changing am I in BTC, am I in ETH, am I in a mixture of everything. The synthetic stuff is coming soon as well. Like I said, the inverse and how that works for people who aren't aware, you just the inverse ETH or inverse BTC is effectively going long on price going down for those particular assets. So yeah, it's just a great way to just mix things up a little bit. And for me, I'm always looking at BTC and ETH. ETH-BTC is a great pair to watch as well for that. And effectively, this is the ETH-BTC pair with USD mixed in there. And its benchmark is USD. And it's, you can see all the other funds and what they're doing. That's one of the coolest things to me, because we get these stories like every other week of some fund manager who was basically running a Ponzi scheme and collected all these millions of dollars and is in jail now. and that sort of thing just really isn't possible with this, because it's non-custodial, it's transparent. You can pull your money in and out whenever you want. And I don't know, I think we take it for granted, at least I do, that like, oh yeah, this is just another thing on ETH that's DeFi and it's happening. But like comparing this to traditional finance, like Mona said, it's just it's so crazy, I think, for somebody in traditional finance to come in and look at this and think like, what, like people are using this and there's millions of dollars in this stuff and it's like not breaking down, like what? I don't know, I feel like when you show this to a traditional finance person, they would just blow their mind as far as what's possible, what's actually happening right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it's kind of boggles the mind that you can just go along to the Enzyme app and connect your MetaMask, and then you effectively have access to these Techemy Capital products. And look, there's a whole lot of other products on Enzyme as well. So there's even there's a leaderboard there that shows you all the different funds and how much assets under management they have and what date they were formed, and you can see the smart contract address for each one. It's pretty cool, Mona.
Thanks. I'm really excited about it too, and I absolutely can't wait to see the all. I know Techemy is coming out with another product soon, and I'm excited to see more information about it.
I mean, can I just ask, because of the Robinhood stuff that's been going on, like, so how does Enzyme as a business, like, do they make money from like payment for flow through something like, like what's Enzyme's angle here?
That's a great question. No, we don't get any fees from the network. So it's we actually didn't touch on this, but it's a decentralized protocol, like most DeFi protocols. I would say that so there will be a fee introduced later this year at a protocol level, but it will not go to us. It will go to token holders. So I mean, not to token holders. Like fees will get burnt and removed from the system. So ultimately, the idea is that any value which accrues to the network is reflected in the value of the token price. And so the idea is that us as a company, it's a very non-traditional business model, because the only way we benefit is if we build great infrastructure and help people build great products on that infrastructure. Then the value of the tokens we hold will go up. But it's very non-traditional in the sense that we don't charge fees, and there are no trading fees charged by us. And there are no hidden costs that we sneak into the users.
Gotcha.
Very, very nice indeed. Okay, guys. Well, be absolutely fascinating to keep an eye on the progress of Enzyme Finance this year, and also on the Techemy Capital portfolios, the ETH and BTC Holistic Portfolio that Josh trades, and the very soon to launch actively managed DeFi portfolio. I'm going to be very much looking out for that one. So again, links to these platforms will be in the show notes, but let's just have closing thoughts from you both. Any shout outs you want to do, or places you want to direct people to, or predictions you want to make? Let's start with you, Josh. Take us away.
Well, check me out on Twitter as usual. The old saying goes, follow Carpe Noctem. Again, I keep talking about transparency, but that's one of the things I noticed was definitely lacking very early on in crypto. So to see something like this is just huge, because people can put up or shut up, right? Like, I see it literally daily. I see people saying like, I made this much money on Uniswap or whatever, blah, blah, blah. I've made 10,000% return in the past 2 months. It's like, okay, well, now here it is. If that's the case, you can show us on stuff like this. As far as predictions, man, I don't know. I like 6 figures by the end of the year, BTC, ETH. I like less than 2,500 by mid-year for ETH. ETH has really struggled over the past week, honestly. It broke all-time highs on basically no volume, and there really was no follow-through. The CME ETH futures launch got overshadowed by Elon, which was previously overshadowed by Elon talking about Dogecoin nonstop.
Yes.
These are just like sentences and words I never thought I'd say out loud, but here we are in 2021.
I know, it's crazy times. You know, we were at 33K just a week or two ago, and now we're at 47, and it is like the beginning of February. So, good Lord, anything could happen this year.
Yeah, I agree. It's,
all right.
Feels I don't know, surreal. It's very surreal.
All right, and look, same to you, Mona. Shout outs you want to give, places you want to direct people to, and yeah, predictions you want to make. Let's hear them.
Yeah, well, let's just start. I'm just going to start by patting myself on the back, because a month ago I told my team that Bitcoin would end the year at $55,000, and I think it was at 20,000 when I said that a month ago or something. So I'm looking pretty smart right now to my team, although it's not the end of the year yet. So we'll see where we end at the end of this year. But yeah, just to frame where we were a month ago and where we were now, and $55,000 just a month ago seemed like it would take a long time to get there, and we're already almost there. So I just think it really is surreal times, to echo what Josh said. I think, it's exciting times, it's surreal. And yeah, in terms of shout out, thanks for mentioning the rebrand, because that's a big help. If you want to follow us now, we're Enzyme Finance on Twitter and all social media. And and if you're interested in learning more about what we do, or getting involved in our community and just meeting some of the people who are doing cool things, then yeah, come and join us in all our social media channels. We're on Telegram, Medium, Twitter, etc. So yeah.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you very much to you both. As I say, links in the show notes. And hope to do this again very soon. All the best, and bye for now.
Thank you so much, Andy. Great to be here.
Thanks, both of you.
All right, there you go. That was today's episode. Thank you very much to Mona from Enzyme Finance, and of course Josh from Brave New Coin and Techemy Capital. So look, if you want to get involved with any of the products that we have talked about today, Josh's ETH-BTC portfolio, you can find more information about how it all works on techemy.capital, and of course enzyme.finance. If you just want to directly invest, you just go along, easy as that. Non-custodial, very cool to see. And the DeFi index that we talked about, that is not live now, but it will be live very soon, so keep an eye out for it. All the details are at techemy.capital. Hey, hope you enjoyed the show. That was us for today. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New